Chapter 13. Natalie. Shhh, don't cry. Derek hums, pushing me. His voice is gentle, but the frown on his face remains. Come on, he goes on, wiping the tears off my cheeks with his thumb, his other hand tucking stray hairs behind my left ear. I want to stop the tears, but they don't seem to be responding, as if my nerves have lost connection to my brain. His gestures are overwhelming, and I can't help but feel confused, angry, and comforted all at once. The tenderness and anxiety are evident in his eyes, as if he's afraid he'll injure me if he does something rash, or raises his voice 1 decibel. The cold, detached, and calculated Derek Lewis actually doesn't know what to do for once. Don't cry, he coaxes, pursing my lips. I blink and sniff my nose. Where did all these tears come from? Why won't they stop? I'm trying, I sob, my voice cracking. Do you think this is funny? You do what you want, whenever you want. You treat me like an object that you can pick up whenever you feel like it, and toss aside when you lose interest. I am not a fool, Derek. Don't touch me. I tilt my head, avoiding his gaze when his mouth curls into an amused smile. He looks so handsome, despite my blurry vision. And here I am, crying like an idiot, looking pitifully ugly. You're not an object, he mumbles. He inches closer, his lips brushing against the corner of my left eye. My heart flutters as if my nerves are jolted with tiny bolts of electricity. You never were. He presses his lips on the lid of my right eye. I shiver, feeling a river of warmth flood my center. I just lost my cool, that's all. I'm not mad, I sob on, still unconvinced. Lost your cool? What the heck? Does that give you the right to invade my workplace, and shove me into your car like I'm a sack of rice? He chuckles and then pinches my cheek. First of all, I am not invading. This project is under Lewis Corporation, so, technically I am your boss, correct? Secondly, you are indeed like a sack of rice. You're really quite heavy. Have you been pigging out? And, last but not least, I'm irritable because I haven't had enough sleep the past few days. Hence, my lack of patience and composure. My jaw drops, amazed that he explained himself properly for once. I wasn't aware he could do that. This is probably a dream. He raises his brow, puzzled. What? The real Derek Lewis would never speak in full, coherent sentences. If this isn't a dream, then you're an imposter. Who are you and what have you done with that asshole? In response, he bursts into laughter which echoes through the narrow space of the vehicle. Squinting my eyes, I study his jubilant demeanor. The frown on his face is gone, and his shoulders have relaxed. His eyes aren't as empty as they used to be. You're laughing. I point, gaping. I never knew you had a comical side to you, he comments, leaning in. Then, he plants a kiss on my lips, gentle and slow at first, as if he's afraid he might break me. My breathing lightens when his tongue traces the outline of my lips, then leisurely enters and explores the cavern of my mouth while sucking and urging me to reciprocate. I'm already breathless when he pulls me in closer with his hand resting on the nape of my neck, the other slipping under my shirt. Moaning, I squirm against his chest, relishing his scorching touch. Oh, how I missed his touch. I link my arms around his neck and pull his kiss in deeper. His mouth is soft and sweet, and his touch electrifies my skin, sending me into a state of carnal bliss. When his palm cups my breast, I moan in pleasure. He jerks away abruptly, leaving me desperately wanting more. That ought to tell you this is real, he teases. I scoff in annoyance but don't say a word, feeling breathless and on fire all over. Let's get out of here. I'm starving. He pulls away from me and starts the engine. Hurriedly, he maneuvers the car without a word. His chest rises and falls heavily, and I can feel and smell the lust in the air as he speeds up the familiar road home to the villa. I'm still in a stupor when the car pulls into the driveway. Derek gets out, taking large strides around to my side. He throws open the passenger door and single-handedly scoops me into his arms. This time, it is swift and careful. We're on the stairs, headed up to the second floor, when my mind finally clears. What are you doing? I ask in incredulity. Getting my meal, he answers flatly as he kicks the door of his study wide open with a bang. I gulp nervously when he places me on top of the large oak desk, his eyes lingering on my face. The usually icy cold stares have turned into a lustful gaze that seems to derobe me of the FADE of strength I've been putting on. My tongue feels stuck to my throat as I examine him. He looks a little tired, but he's definitely fully sober. My heart brightens with hope, but I push it down, trying to hold on to my last bit of dignity. Stop this, I stutter, trying my best to sound like I actually mean it. I sit up, spine straight, feigning composure. This is sexual harassment. Derek pauses, his eyes twinkling in delight as he sits down on his office chair, watching me thoughtfully like a figurine. Then, he pulls himself closer, his arms planted on either side of my thighs, restricting my movements. He stands again. You and your mouth. I raise a brow, feeling indignant, but rather than fight, I assume a blaze air. I'll go and tell Mrs. Whittle to prepare your lunch. You must be tired. You should rest. I'll do you a favor and forget what you did today. I expect it won't happen again. Derek pauses and meets my gaze before letting out an exasperated sigh. His expression softens for a moment before he lowers his head to rest on my lap. Frowning, I look down to see his shoulders relaxing. William took Mrs. Whittle to the hospital. She tripped and fell while trimming the hydrangea this morning, he murmurs, his hands slithering around my waist. I sigh impatiently, feeling a shudder running down my spine. You are acting strange. Why are you so talkative? I question suspiciously. I'm not. You are acting like a cat too. If he wasn't Derek, I would have already kicked his balls for crossing the line way too many times in the span of an hour. I want to scream and slap him hard for fucking with my emotions like this. At the same time, I want to hug and kiss him. I want him to touch me. I want to tell him how I feel, but I don't know where or how to start, or if it's worth the risk. I just want to be near you. Your energy relaxes me. My brows twitch. What are you talking about? While you're riling me up, I'm relaxing you. You're not allowed to get close to anyone like this. Otherwise, you'd have to bail me out of jail, he mutters, a tinge of anger and possessiveness in his voice. I fall silent for a moment, my eyes gazing through the glass walls. The lotus flowers floating on the calm waters of the pond are in bloom. My mouth breaks into a smile when I finally understand what Derek is talking about. I feel my heart swelling with happiness. Is he jealous? I have no idea what you're talking about, Mr. Lewis, I say, feigning ignorance. Stay away from that bastard. Who? Mason Moore. I laugh, combing my fingers through his dark hair. Why? Are you jealous? I tease. He scoffs. Me, Derek Lewis. Hell no. I giggle and roll my eyes, tickled by his childishness. Knowing his personality, spitting out the actual words would be like swallowing needles. A proud man like him would never admit something so vulnerable as jealousy. Still, I feel happy. It's enough for me to know that I have a space in his thorny heart. Mason is a senior engineer at Quinn Industries. He's been a good mentor to me. Whatever you saw, it meant nothing. He was driving like a madman and I was nauseous when I got out of the car. He was just supporting me when I lost my balance. He looks up at me, with a frown and disgust on his face. His eyes are a little droopy. You don't know him. Keep your distance. He's a dangerous man. I raise a brow, throwing him a suspicious look. Derek may come off as a jackass when it comes to his words, but he never says anything he doesn't mean. What do you mean? I'll tell you soon enough, he says softly. His hands move across my back, expertly snapping open the hook of my bra with a single move. Now, can I please get my meal? I'm starving. Wide-eyed, I gape at his face only to realize that he was just laying his trap all along. His eyes glow with desire. How could I have fallen into this unscrupulous plot? I sneer. Tell me, Mr. Lewis, have you been having a dry spell? I mock him, mischievously, pushing his large figure back onto his chair. I slip off the desk and straddle his lap. Did you rush your work to fly back here? His jaw clenches as a tinge of red creeps to the tip of his ears. I'm an efficient worker. Finishing early is a given, he replies matter-of-fact. Squirming against his wide chest, I rotate my hips slowly, brushing my crotch against his as my arms link around his neck. When I feel him tense up, I lean closer so that my lips swiftly brush his jawline. Did you miss me that much? I tease, meeting his gaze. Shut up, he mumbles as he reaches up to loosen his tie. Did your heart ache when you saw me cry? Shut up. Were you jealous when you saw me with Mason? Shut up. Surely, you don't mean that. Woman, stop this nonsense, he protests. You don't mean that either, I chuckle, feeling him growing hard against my jeans. His breathing is hot and heavy. I smile and muster the courage to take the initiative. I grasp his tie and pull him in, eagerly kissing his lips, expressing my longing and anticipation. I move my body to create friction against his clothes as I take his hand and guide it beneath my shirt, softly biting his bottom lip. Touch me, I murmur against his mouth. With my consent, Derek hoists me up. He wraps one hand around my waist, the other under my ass, as he rises from his seat. Nibbling against my neck, he smoothly strides across the room and hall, making his way to the master bedroom. After laying me on his large bed, he admires the throbbing area of skin on my neck where he's just marked me, as if he's completed a work of art. Impatiently, he undresses me, his eyes roaming across my nakedness, his gaze burning with lust as if he's ready to devour me witless. I shiver at the thought, gaping at his hard pecs. When he strips his shirt off, I gulp. His abs are a level of perfection that even billboard models can't hold a candle to. Like what you see? He asks gruffly. I look away, my cheeks heated from embarrassment. Sure, we've made love once before, but we are in broad daylight now, the sun tossing beams across the bed like spotlights. Every part of his body, every movement he makes is illuminated. It feels sinful to witness such a beautifully sculpted creature standing before me, now fully nude. Are you shy now? His magnetic voice is breathy, as if he's having a hard time speaking. I nod then shake my head. He chuckles. I'm still unable to make up my mind when he encircles me in his arms, peppering kisses along my collarbones. His mouth travels down my belly as his hands find their home on my breasts, kneading them fervidly. I swallow a moan in my throat, only for it to escape like a shriek. God, you're so sexy, he whispers sensuously, lifting my leg. He plants small kisses on my thigh that send streams of titillation up through my center, making my entire body contract. When our gazes lock again, he looks at me calculatedly and flirtatiously. Slowly, he leans in and devours my lips like a hungry beast. I lick his bottom lip and suck his tongue, my mind letting go of rationality. He tastes sweet and minty, floating on a pool of pure pleasure. I place a hand on his nape, pulling him closer to deepen the kiss. His mouth is soft, and the tenderness of his approach is driving me insane. With my free hand, I caress his arousal, feeling him tense with my touch. Pulling away, he shoots me a dirty look while parting my legs wider. I struggle against the sheets with my cheeks growing hotter while he studies my wet entrance with darkened eyes. He reaches out and slips his long middle finger into my mouth. Before I can react, he takes it out and slides it inside my pussy. I yelp in surprise, but when he slides his finger in and out, I whimper, feeling my insides quiver and convulse. My hands grasp the sheets while my hips rotate to match his rhythm. He takes it out of my pussy and places it in his mouth, sucking off my juices. Sweet, I'm burning hot. Derek, please don't make me wait any longer, I whisper shamelessly. He cups my ass with both hands, slightly lifting me off the bed as he slowly runs his tongue along my center. I gasp in ecstasy with my toes curled. I didn't hear that, he murmurs in a low, vibrating hum against my clit. Oh, please, just fuck me, please. I breathe desperately, unable to find the words to express my need. Hearing this, Derek looks up at me, a glimmer of excitement flashing in his gray eyes. He positions himself at my entrance and forces himself inside me in a single thrust. Fuck, you're so big, I shriek. Why thank you. He lifts my butt and adjusts himself inside me. Closing my eyes, I breathe deeply to relax, waiting for the pain to subside, accommodating his length and proud thickness. Tearfully, I dig my nails into his back, hoping to make him realize how painful it is. He's so big, I feel like he might tear me in two. Jesus, Natalie, he groans as he unsheathes himself from me, slathered in my juices. I sense surprise and thrill in his voice. Shut up. Derek chuckles heartily as he plants another kiss on my temple. He gently re-enters, moving slowly and shallowly at first, then picking up pace, pounding me harder, deeper, and faster. My moans are muffled against his mouth as I lock my legs around his waist. I'm losing my mind with the overpowering pleasure engulfing my entire being. I feel like I'm floating on air mixed with the smell of sweat and lust. The sound of panting and the slapping of skin echoes in my ears as our bodies join, slamming together repeatedly. As I near my climax, I feel Derek growing inside me, and his pace hastens. He grunts. I reach down and rub my clit for additional stimulation, guttural moans escaping my throat when he bites my collarbone. Derek rotates his hips as I met his every thrust, hitting all the right places, drawing out my orgasm. My eyes flutter and my muscles tighten and quiver violently with the sensations as sparks go off in my vision. My toes curl up and my back arches as I let out a scream of pleasure, receiving his one last, deep thrust, pushing me far over the edge into some exhilarating state I've never before experienced. Oh, we moan simultaneously. We came together, and somehow, it feels like we're one. Derek claims me one more time before collapsing at my side. He plants a kiss on my forehead, and holds me in his arms, inhaling my sweaty aroma. Just like the first night, we bathe in comfortable silence until our breathing slows. Welcome back, I murmur warily, completely spent. I'm home, he hums. My mouth curls contentedly as I feel his lips brush against my shoulder. He's home,